Hey, welcome to Hilltop in the Valley. It has been a plethora of different types of weather this week. We've had very cold weather. We just got through with a couple days of heavy rain, and the most exciting part, of course, was the ice storm we had, which turned all of our driveway and everywhere around us into pure ice. I actually, if you didn't see it on our Instagram account, I was out there skating on ice skates, which was not a planned thing. I just thought for a minute there maybe that was actually safer than trying to walk up to feed the ducks, which no, it was not. But it was fun trying to skate on ice skates. Well, when the weather is like this, it's so fun to have a bowl of hot cereal. And today I thought I would bring you into the kitchen and make buckwheat porridge with you. So whenever the kids hear that I'm making cream of wheat, they always get so excited, and they especially love it with the buckwheat. I don't know what it is, but there is definitely a great flavor that comes from the combination of buckwheat and maple syrup. Sometimes we will do it with a different sweetener like coconut sugar, but either way, they really love that with the milk. But I have been making this for, I don't know, maybe a couple years for them, and I had no clue until this last year when I noticed on social media a friend that we had met over in Ukraine when we were over adopting our daughter. She was making this for her daughter's gotcha day. And I said, oh, I had no idea that was an Eastern European thing. And she said, oh yes, buckwheat is definitely Eastern European. And I looked it up and it is. I was so excited because it was already one of my kids' favorite things for breakfast. Oftentimes in Eastern European cuisine, buckwheat will be used as a savory dish. You might have some ground beef in there, chopped up onions. They use it kind of like a rice. And it can be a side, or it could also be used as more of a main dish. But they do use buckwheat quite a bit, and it does have a very nice creamy flavor. And so I will put my buckwheat out the night before. I start with 2 cups for my 4 kids and a little bit left over for myself. And I will just fill up a bowl with water about an inch above my buckwheat line. That way it can soak in some of the water and it won't rise above the water. And put a towel, or you can put plastic wrap over that bowl, and I just put it in a place at room temperature overnight and let it sit. The next morning I get up and I get my, oh yes, this is not very old-fashioned here, but I get my food processor out and I will put all of the buckwheat in the food processor with a little bit of the liquid, and then I put that lid on and I just blend it up. I blend until it is completely blended together. So it will end up looking kind of like a pudding, a very creamy pudding. I'll stop that then, and I go and I get a medium-sized pot and I turn it on to about low medium heat, and then I'll put that buckwheat that has been creamed into the pot. And at this point, I will begin to heat it up, and it does take stirring constantly because this does like to clump up. Now, when we first started making this buckwheat cereal, the kids hated the clumps. They did not like me having clumps in there, but I found that it was almost impossible to get rid of the clumps. Now, I think perhaps if you used a whisk constantly and you were just constantly at it, you could make sure that there were not any clumps in this. But now the kids actually love the clumps, and so I allow the clumps to come more and more, and of course then they want the biggest clump to be in their bowl, and yada yada. Now you have a couple choices at this point. You could add in your cinnamon, your vanilla, your sweetener into the saucepan that you're stirring everything into, or you can wait. I usually will wait and I will put it on individually in the bowls. You can also add more water while you're stirring if you want it to be a little bit thinner. It just depends on what your personal preference is for how you like your cream of wheat. So I usually will stir this for about 10 minutes as it cooks, and you will notice it cooking because of how much water it is absorbing. At the end of that time, I will shut the burner off, and then I will begin to put it into bowls. I like to top it off with the sugar or sweetener. Maple syrup is an excellent choice for a sweetener on top of buckwheat. The maple and the creamy flavor from the buckwheat go together extremely well, especially when you add milk with it. So I really like to do that. I like to put a little dollop of butter on it, make it a little bit more hearty. And then I will put the kids' cinnamon, a little bit of their sweetener, and some milk in it, and they will just take it and enjoy it. Well, as always, this was a hit. The kids were extremely grateful for it. At least I like to think that, because of how happy they are. Of course, then they start whining for things later, and I wonder, were you really, really grateful for that? Someday they will truly be grateful for this, I think. And so I just hold on to that day. But it was actually the perfect time for making cream of buckwheat, I think. With being in the teens, having our animals be so cold and having to take care of them constantly to keep them warm, having the kids go in and outside playing, it was truly a January dish. And I hope you guys are finding some fun dishes to make this month too. Let me know what you're making in the comment box below. I'd love to hear how your winter is going. Unless, of course, you're in 80-degree weather. Then I might not want to hear so much. Yeah, I'd love to hear still. That would be fine. I'd love to hear that too. Anyways, hope you guys are doing good. I'll be back again soon with some more fun, and thanks for joining me. Talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. Go all the way.